Hello everyone, welcome to this topic on critical reasoning. This video is brought to you by Learning Made Easy team, a team of IIM grads in association with our e-learning partner GTCUBE Get to the Top. So the goal of this video is to give you a good understanding of types of questions that are asked in this area of critical reasoning. So we will talk about 4 types of questions that are the standard varieties that you'll get to see in exams. We'll take a couple of examples to explain as well on how to tackle them. But this video is not going to be in-depth explanation of the entire concepts and tricks to tackle each type in a depth, in a required depth for certain exams. So you would find those videos if there's any requirement. Please check for that in our partner website gtcube.com/store. So we have a lot of courses that we are offering for free. So check that out at gtcube.com/store, where you'll get to watch these videos set up as part of courses and also get to practice a lot of questions that would help you understand these concepts better. So let's get started. So first type in critical reasoning is based on assumptions. Okay, understanding what are the assumptions in the given paragraph or set of information. So let's take a simple example. So if say the author says scientists do not work in a noisy place, therefore Emily does not work in a noisy place. Okay, let's say that this is what the information is known to us. So what are the assumptions that you can see here? Right, the author is sort of saying that scientists do not work in a noisy place. Therefore, he is like giving up with a conclusion or coming up with a statement saying that Emily does not work in a noisy place. The simple assumption that we all should be able to see is this, that Emily should be a scientist or is a scientist. Right? Because of that, and this statement that scientists do not work in a noisy place, I can combine both and then make a conclusion that Emily does not work in a noisy place. Because Emily is a scientist and scientists do not work, let me put it, is a scientist and scientists do not work in a noisy place, yes, then it makes sense that Emily does not work in a noisy place. So author is not explicitly giving this, but this is an assumption that we can say that the author had taken, or maybe taken as a granted when he made the statement that Emily does not work in a noisy place. Again, some other assumptions, there is no limit to the assumptions, but this is the biggest assumption I can think of just from this piece of information. Right? You can go in different directions to come up with different assumptions, but at the end of the day, it depends on the options you read and sort of make sense and pick the relevant option. So let's look at another example to again come up with this assumption thing. The company X has developed a new product that uses metal A, which is toxic to kids. In order to protect our kids, we need to ban the use of this product. Right? That is what this entire thing is. So company X has developed a new product that uses metal A, which is dangerous to kids. In order to protect our kids, we need to ban the use of this product. So what are the assumptions here? One assumption is that kids will use this product. Right? Because if the kids do not use this product or do not come in contact with this, then there is no problem with this product at all, right? Even if that's dangerous to kids, if kids are not going to get in touch with that, so we have quite a few stuff like rat poison and other things which could be dangerous to anyone as a human, and generally the instructions would read that, make sure that kids do not get in touch with that, do not touch this or use this for any purpose. So this assumption is that the author thinks that this product will be used by the kids. And you can also say the other assumption is like the only way to produce this product is using metal A, right? So new product can be made, using only metal A. Because it says it's not the product that's the dangerous, it's a metal A which is used in the product which is toxic to kids. Maybe there's a chance that we can make this product, new product, using some other metal B which is not toxic. Right? So the assumption again here is that because the conclusion or the expectation is that we need to ban the use of this product, not the metal A. See this carefully. So that means the author sort of feels that there is no alternative here. So if at all this product is made, it will be made using metal A. That's why, because metal A is dangerous to kids, the product is dangerous to kids and the product needs to be banned. So this is also an assumption that the author is making. So there is no limit to the assumptions that you can think of depending on the amount of information that's given, as I said. So do not try to come up with all the assumptions for the questions. Rather, read it and understand the core points of this. So what is the key sort of information given and what is the key conclusion that the author is coming about or arguing, and then look at the options and pick the relevant answer. So let's come to this. Let's take an example. So the questions and assumptions would look like this. The conclusion drawn in the first sentence depends on which of the following assumptions. So whatever the author has concluded in this paragraph, right, what is the biggest or what is the valid assumption that's used according to the passage or the set of information given out of these four options. If the highways were restricted to cars and only those trucks with capacity of less than 8 tons, most of the truck traffic would be forced to run outside highways. Right, so it says if highways have a restriction saying that only cars or trucks with less than 8 tons capacity should be running on highways, then most of the truck traffic would be forced to run outside highways. Because so what is that meaning? The author feels that most of the truck traffic that goes on highways is more than 8 tons. Right, most of the truck traffic on highways is more than 8 tons. That's why he or she is feeling that if highways have the restriction of only cars and trucks up to 8 tons, then most of the truck traffic would be forced to run outside highways. Right? Think about this carefully, right? Because I am not allowing the trucks more than 8 tons on highways, they will be forced to run outside highways. And the author says most of the truck traffic will be forced to run outside highways, which has to be because most of the truck traffic on highways are more than 8 tons. Such a reduction in the amount of truck traffic would reduce the risk of collision on highways. Right? Such a reduction in the amount of truck traffic. So because most of the truck traffic is running outside highways, so once they move out of highways, that will reduce the truck traffic and that would reduce the risk of collisions on the highways. That's the author conclusion. And let's read the first option. The roads outside highway would be as convenient as highway for most drivers of truck. So how would this make any sense as an assumption? Like roads outside highway would be as convenient as highway for most drivers of truck. So it's basically saying that the truck drivers have no have no preference because they feel it's all the same. So that anyway will not satisfy this condition that with any new restriction that would force them to run on highways, because if they have no preference, they would have anyway done these two equally at a similar level, right? So there wouldn't have been any traffic being mostly on that national highways only. So if anything, I would say this one would be sort of a counter arguing what the author concludes. That is like most of the truck traffic would be forced to run outside highways. If at all they restrict something like this, this should not lead to this if this is true. So this is like actually weakening it. That's not a correct statement. Most of the roads outside highways are not ready to handle truck traffic. So I mean that would not be any relevant thing to this whole thing, right? So again, not making sense. Most trucks that are currently running in highway have a capacity of more than 8 tons, which is correct, right? Which is what I also said as the assumption. Most trucks that are currently running in highway have a capacity of more than 8 tons. So most of the truck traffic is more than 8 tons. That's why if we make a restriction that the trucks more than 8 tons are not supposed to run highways, they would be forced to run outside highways. So this is the valid assumption. So valid assumption is that most of the truck traffic is greater than 8 tons. That's most of the truck traffic on highways is more than 8 tons, has a capacity of more than 8. That's why that's the correct answer. Cars are at greater risk of being involved in collisions than a truck. Again, not making any sense. Anyway, that would not even help me in the conclusion in the first line. That would be something related to this, but even then this does not link with anything based on what's the question asking. So the next type is strengthening an argument, right? So this is like the author has given you an argument. Then if there is something as an additional piece of information given, that statement, that additional piece of line should actually strengthen the argument that's made by the author. So let's look at this. Right? Scientists do not work in a noisy place. So again, I am not giving you any options here. I am taking the same examples to show you, how the same piece of information could be used for framing different questions. Scientists do not work in a noisy place. Therefore, Emily does not work in a noisy place. What is the argument the author is making here? Scientists do not work in a noisy place. That's a key argument that he is making. And then he is assuming, maybe the assumption is that Emily is a scientist, so he is coming to a conclusion that Emily does not work in a noisy place. So let's take a situation like this, right? Scientists, get new ideas in silent places, right? A silent atmosphere, or maybe people, general people as well. So you see, scientists are supposed to think of new ideas, think of new experiments, etc. So that's why they do not work in noisy place. So this statement, scientists get new ideas in silent atmosphere, would strengthen this argument, right? So scientists get new ideas in silent atmosphere compared to sitting in working in noisy place. That's why they do not work in noisy place and they work in a silent place. So things like this would be the argument, additional lines, right? Additional lines or additional points which would strengthen the argument, right? That is support or in favor or make this more strong, right? Let's look at this. The company X has developed a new product that uses metal A, which is toxic to kids. In order to protect our kids, we need to ban use of this product. So the argument is that there is a toxic product to the kids, right? So this product uses metal A, which is toxic to kids. In order to protect our kids, we need to ban. So as I said, right? So additional point could be something like the new product can be manufactured only by A, metal A. Can be manufactured by metal A only, right? By using only metal A. What am I saying this new product can be manufactured only with metal A. There is no alternative for this. So what is the argument the author made? The key argument, the metal A which is used in new product is toxic to kids. So once I say the new product can be manufactured using only by metal A, so this is going to impact the kids and that's why we need to ban the product. This is again in favor of whatever the argument the author is making. That is what basically we need to look for in strengthening an argument. Understand the key argument in the piece of information and see which option would actually agree to it or make it more stronger. Let's look at the same piece of information. If highways were restricted and only trucks with capacity of less than 8 tons were allowed to run, most of the traffic would be forced to run outside highways. Such a reduction in the amount of truck traffic would reduce the risk of collisions on highways. So here it says, which of the following, if true, would strengthen the conclusion drawn in the second sentence. The conclusion drawn in the second sentence, this is the second sentence. What is the conclusion drawn? Reduction in the truck traffic would reduce the risk of collisions on highways, right? This is the conclusion that they have come up with. Reduction in the truck traffic would reduce the risk of collisions on highways. So which of these 4 points, if true, would actually agree with this, make this more stronger? Highways are experiencing overcrowded traffic mainly because of sharp increase in car traffic. Yeah, so I mean, so if there is more car traffic, right? How would us moving out the truck traffic reduce the collisions? It would not agree to it, right? It would be irrelevant at max or maybe even like sort of weakens it a bit, but maybe I would say as a neutral statement. The author feels that reduction in truck traffic, basically less trucks on highways, would reduce the collisions on highways. So having more cars, right? Highways are experiencing overcrowded traffic mainly because of sharp increase in car traffic. Because this statement says there is a lot of car traffic in highways. So even if this is true, how would this support this, right? How would us seeing a lot of traffic in highways, car traffic, reduce the risk of collisions on highways? It would not. So it's at max neutral, if not weakening the statement. Many drivers of trucks would rather buy trucks with a capacity of less than 8 tons than be excluded from the highways. Right? This is basically saying many truck drivers would buy trucks with capacity less than 8 tons than be excluded from highways. So because of all this story that greater than 8 tons make them move out of highways, if most of the drivers actually prefer to actually buy trucks less than 8 tons, right, what would that happen? So let's say if there are only 100 trucks in this whole country or place where they run on highway, of which 80 of them are 8 plus and 20 of them are 8, less than 8 tons. Let's assume this scenario. If this rule made all the drivers, right, 100 drivers carry less than 8 tons, would this actually reduce this traffic? No, right? You won't see reduction in truck traffic, which would obviously not lead to the reduce of the accidents. So this statement seems to be a statement which would actually weaken, right? If you ask me, it's going to be weakening it. Why? Because if most of the truck drivers would prefer to buy trucks less than 8 tons, So it would not lead to the reduction in the truck traffic, and that would not lead to the risk of collisions highway. Again, this is a wrong statement, right? It would not strengthen the conclusion. It's actually sort of weakening it. How would it weaken it? I'm saying if most of the people would prefer, as I said, all the people will now, because of this restriction, start buying smaller vehicles, I mean the trucks with lesser capacity, so that they will still run on highways. So there will be no reduction in the traffic, hence there will be no reduction in the collision of highways, which would not support this, rather it is in the negative direction. The number of collisions that occur near highways has reduced in the recent years. But then, I mean, that would not have any relation with what's going to happen in this, right? The number of collisions in highways has reduced recent years. That's saying that now the accidents are less in number. Okay, if earlier there were 1000 accidents happening in a year, let's say now only 100 incidents are happening. It has reduced, yes, but then how would that actually support the statement that the reduction in truck traffic would reduce the risk of collision on highways, right? It has no influence or relevance to it. The trucks that have a capacity of more than 8 tons cause a disproportionately large number of collisions on highways. This seems to be the correct option. See, it's saying that trucks which are greater than 8 tons are causing the large number of collisions on highway. So once I reduce them, I move them out, obviously the reduction in truck traffic would reduce the risk of collision on highways. So this is agreeing to what the conclusion is, right? Once we have less number of vehicles more than 8 tons, it will reduce the risk of collisions. So this is agreeing to it because, you know, most of the accidents are happening because of the trucks of 8 tons. So this statement is agreeing to this, and that's why this is strengthening it. That's why this is the answer. Let's look at the weakening an argument, right? So again, the same thing as what we said. We need to have that additional point which will actually be negative, basically counters the core argument of the author, which is not agreeing to whatever is the core argument made by the author. It counters the argument made by the author, right? It should be like, weaken that. It should rather, prove him wrong or make him make his statement less strong, weakened, etc. Let's look at the same case, right? Scientists do not work in noisy place. So this is the argument he's saying. Therefore, Emily does not work in a noisy place. This is the conclusion. The argument is this. Basically, the author says that scientists do not work in a noisy place. Let's say there's a statement, it says research proved that brain works best, right, with lot of noise around it. Okay, let's say that this is one of the statements that you look at. Research proved that brain works best with a lot of noise around it. What does this actually say? This is actually countering it, right? Because it says scientists do not work in noisy place, fair enough, but then there's a lot of research that says that brain works the best with a lot of noise around it. That means the brain works the best in noisy place than a silent place. So scientists also should be ideally prefer working in noisy place so that their brain also works the best. So this is like an additional point which would counter this. Is this absolutely right? Maybe not, I'm just trying to give an example to just show you how an additional point can weaken an argument, right? So we are not trying to make it a factual thing or something like that. And you have to understand, forget about the real world facts. You just have to stick to what's given in the paragraph and what are the options you have, and only have to use that. Even if it's completely counterintuitive, you got to use only those information as the facts and solve the question. Do not try to use the brain or the knowledge you have outside the given piece of information. Let's look at this one, right? Company X developed a product, uses a metal that's toxic to kids. In order to protect our kids, we need to ban the use of the product. Let's say there's an additional point that's, added, which says, okay, the new product can be manufactured, right, by another metal B, which is not toxic to kids, right? It says new product can be manufactured by metal B, which is not toxic to kids. Or let's say the statement says a new alternative is found for metal A, right, which is not toxic. So this, if is true, right, new alternative is found for metal A which is not toxic, true, then why should we ban the product? Because a new alternative is found, the company can use this to manufacture this product which is not toxic to kids, hence there is no need to ban the product, right? Statements like this Or maybe there's a lot of research which said that new product is not used by kids, or not touched by kids, or not touched by kids. So if it's not touched by kids, or it's not being used by kids, how would that impact kids if it's not used by kids? So how would that be toxic to the kids, because they are not going to touch or use it? Hence there will be no problem for them, and there will be no need for banning the product, right? Statements like this would actually weaken the argument or counter the core argument of this passage, right? So let's look at this example. So offshore oil drilling operations involve an unavoidable risk of an oil spill, but importing oil on tankers presently involves an even greater risk, such risk per barrel of oil. So we are comparing two things. Offshore oil drilling, it's like doing it in seashores, etc. Operations involve an unavoidable risk of an oil spill. So whenever you do those operations, there's a risk that oil can spill and get into the water and make a lot of problem for aquatic and humans as well. So that's why the statement says it involves an unavoidable risk. It's not possible to completely avoid it. But importing oil on tankers, that is like you do it somewhere else on shore, then you got to transport it to some other countries or etc. through water bodies on tankers, presently involves an even greater such risk per barrel of oil. So it's saying that offshore oil spill is less than transport in tankers. That's what the author is arguing in this first statement. So if we had to lessen the risk of an oil spill without reducing our oil usage, so if assume that there is no way I can cut down my oil usage, so the other thing is to lessen the risk of oil spill. To maintain the same amount of production, we got to select one of these two options, right? Assuming these are the only two choices we have, we do not want to cut down our usage, so the only choice is to actually invest more in offshore operations, right? We must invest more in the offshore operations and import less oil tankers. So prefer this is what the author is concluding, because he says that oil spill is more in offshore, less in offshore drilling than in oil tankers. So it says if which of the following if true weakens the argument, right? The core argument is this, that the offshores is less spill than the transportation on tankers per barrel of oil. Hence it's better to invest in offshore operations is what the conclusion is. So let's try to understand these options, right? Importing oil on tankers is currently less expensive than drilling for it offshore. Could be, right? But how does it even matter, right? Not relevant. Why? Because it's actually core argument is not related to money. It's related to the risk of oil spill, which is not being, attacked or in any way by this thing. Yes, it could be less expensive. So what? Because the author is not talking about us saving money or making it more efficient in terms of money, right? It's more about reducing the oil spill, making it efficient in that sense. So hence option A is not attacking the core argument. Tankers can easily be redesigned so that their use entails less risk of an oil spill. This seems to be a good statement. See, tankers can easily be redesigned so that their use entails less risk of an oil spill. So all the while the author has been talking about current tankers are possess a greater risk of oil spill, etc. Here the new additional point says tankers can easily be redesigned so that their use entails less risk of an oil spill. Maybe if this new design of tankers make it better than the offshore, right? So if this is true, then obviously this will weaken this core argument that offshore is showing less oil spill than transport tankers. Maybe the new design will be much better than the offshore operation, so this will weaken it. Let's look at the other two options also. The impact of offshore operations on environment can be reduced by careful management. Okay, but then this will not weaken, right? Because already the author's core argument is that offshore is better than the transportation. So impact of offshore operations can be reduced by careful management is sort of not weakening it. Again, nope. Oil spills caused by tankers have generally been more serious than those caused by offshore operations. And this, if at all anything, is actually strengthening the argument, right? Because the argument is that offshore is better than transport tankers because of less oil spill. Now the author, this additional point is basically saying that oil spills in tankers caused by tankers are more serious than offshore operations. So this is more like strengthening. If there was a question asking which of the following strengthens, I would select this. Because weakening, I should select B. Right, the other type is inference question, right? Asking you to say what is the inference. So read all of this. Okay, let's say this case should have been only this, okay? If I get all information from this, which of the following is correct inference? Inference as in this statement can be called true based on whatever I see in the passage. So scientists do not work in noisy place, right? So therefore Emily does not work in noisy place. Okay, let's keep everything, right? Everything is relevant. So then I can have an inference that Emily is a scientist, right? It is a suitable relevance, right? Could be or is a scientist, because maybe it's not must be a scientist. Someone's, let's say even teachers like to work in silent place. Okay, we don't know, right? Emily could be a teacher, but just based on the given information, one of the better conclusion or inference I can make is this: scientists do not work in noisy place. Emily does not work in a noisy place, so maybe Emily is a scientist. So this is what inference basically, conclusion sort of. The company X has developed a new product that causes users metal A, which is toxic to kids. In order to protect our kids, we need to ban the use of this product. So maybe if I go with an inference like company X developed a new product that uses metal A, which is toxic to kids. In order to protect our kids, we need to ban the use of this product. So for example, I can come up with inference like this. New product is used right by kids in large or higher frequency. Right, this maybe still not. New product used in higher frequency might affect kids, right? Higher frequency by kids will impact kids, right? Because the author is saying that it is toxic to kids. That's why if new product is used by kids a lot, right? New product used by kids in higher frequency will impact kids in the negative way, which is a correct inference that I can make. So there is a slight difference between inference and assumption. Okay, have this clarity on this. So do not get confused with that, right? Assumption is that I can assume that kids use this product a lot, right? There's a difference between that and basically saying that new product used in higher frequency by kids will impact kids in the negative direction, which is sort of already made here. Toxic to kids is that point which will satisfy this thing. This one is also a bit of confusion because we have already used this as assumption also. In the assumptions case, we said Emily could be a scientist or is a scientist is assumption. So is it an inference? In a way, maybe it's not a correct inference, to be very frank, because I would rather call it an assumption than inference, because using these two statements, what I can make is more like right, scientists prefer to work in silent places. This could be a decent inference because they do not prefer to work in noisy place. So I can say scientists prefer to work in silent place. Right, that could be a better inference. But it's okay. As I said, just make sure that you do not get confused with assumptions and inference. Let's get to question to clarify that. So in terms of purchasing power parity, rural households have more purchasing power than urban and suburban households at the same income level. Since most of the income urban and suburban households utilize for food and shelter can be utilized by rural households for other needs, right? So it's saying that rural households and compared to urban and suburban households at same income level, right? If let's say 10,000 is the income that I'm comparing, so rural versus urban, suburban, right, at same levels, these people have more purchasing power, higher purchasing power, because some of the income urban, suburban households utilize for food and shelter can be utilized by rural households for other needs. That means these people have more money saved compared to these people after spending on food and shelter. Assume that people out of 10,000 spent on food and shelter. So rural household maybe will only spend 3,000 on it, whereas these people have to spend 5,000. So hence the remaining is 7,000 and 5,000. So hence the people in the rural household has more power to spend than them, because these urban and suburban are spending more money on house. Right? That's something that I can understand. So let's look at the inferences. All three types of households, urban, suburban, rural, spend more of their income on housing than other purchases combined. I cannot conclude this, or I cannot infer this, right? I only know that compared to rural and urban, suburban, rural spend less on houses and food than them. That's why they have more power to spend. But I don't know housing versus compared to other elements, which one is greater or larger, right? Rural households have lower housing and food costs than do either urban or suburban. This is correct, right? Than either urban or suburban. So that seems to be correct, right? As I said, rural are having more power to spend after spending on food and shelter compared to urban suburban at the same income level, because they are spending less on house and food compared to them. So they will be left with more to spend compared to them. So that's why this seems to be the correct inference that I can make. The median income of suburban and urban households is generally more than that of the rural households. So, I mean, like, no sense, right? Could be correct statement, but then how would that be something I can infer? This whole statement is only, the passage only talks about if I compare rural households versus urban suburban with same income level, right? These people have more purchasing power after spending on house and food because these guys spend less on food and shelter. That's sort of what I can conclude, but not about the median being higher here or here. The average rural households include more people than the average urban or suburban. Again, I cannot comment on this. I cannot conclude this based on, given information, right? There's no clue given which would give me the that classic or conclusion that households in rural have more average number of people than urban or suburban. So again, this is wrong. So this is the correct statement. So inferences, conclusions, you have to look at like that. From the given piece of information, which of these statements I can conclude. I should not use any other factual information or any other piece of information from outside the passage or outside the given information, right? So that's it. Thank you for watching this video. If you're watching this video in the YouTube channel, make sure that you check out our full-length courses available for free at gtcube.com/store. We'll get to watch these courses, videos as part of courses, and also practice a lot of questions after this, right? You will learn these concepts better if you watch the videos and then immediately practice questions similar to these concepts. So don't miss that out. And also like our partners Facebook page, facebook.com/GTCUBE3. We're coming up with a lot of content that would help you in your preparation. You'll get all those updates and notifications shared over there, so don't miss that. So thank you for watching this video, and let's meet in the next video.